Today with us we have Conrad Reed, and he is a radio morning show host. Take it away.
Thank you, Autumn. She's really good. She's a natural. Gonna have to work on that last name, but natural. Yeah, my name is Conrad Reed. I'm a morning show host on 96.9 WBTI, actually in the morning mix with Conrad and Erica. Half of that, not Erica. I also work for Rock 105.5. Both of those are in Port Huron. And then I also work for 98.7 AMP Radio on the weekends, which apparently is a favorite of Autumn's. I've been on air for about 2.5 years. I started off part-time in Port Huron and then worked my way up to full-time evening DJ. And then about a year ago, actually a year in December, I got to be a morning show host with another coworker of mine, Erica. And we've kind of had to build that show up from the ground up, making it our own instead of the carbon copy of the last morning show before us. So we've been going through a little bit of growing pains with that. But now that we're kind of finding our stride, doing some fun stuff, and basically living the life that is radio. I got bit by the radio bug when I was in college. I went to Alma College, and I sat in on some student club meetings, and radio was brought up, and I was like, hey, I like radio. Radio's fun. And my first air shift, I just never looked back, pretty much. Now, I know I'm talking to students, so obviously I'm going to talk about education. Alma, for when I went there, it wasn't the best school for radio, and especially, I don't think they even had anything for television. What I ended up getting, the meat of my education was actually doing my internship in Saginaw, which is at WIOG up in Saginaw. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that or not, but I did an internship in promotions, which was a lot of early mornings and late nights and picking up heavy equipment, and basically a position of many hats. You kind of go where you need to go, especially as an intern. You do what you need to do. And it's not glamorous in the least, because you are just there to basically be an extra set of hands, extra set of feet, maybe a walking billboard for the station t-shirt, or an actual literal walking billboard with a giant sign. But there's lots of positions in radio that are like that, and depending on which market size you're in will depend on, exactly how much you have to do.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job? Okay, I'm going to backtrack. When I was in high school and getting into college, I used to listen to these guys called Dominski and Doyle. They were out of Detroit, and they were a talk show. And just the dynamic of that show, it didn't matter if I was caught in traffic. It didn't matter if I was having a bad day. It was just a real pleasure to listen to them, do what they do. And, they made me want to call in. They made me want to interact. They made me want to stay in the car and listen to stuff they had coming up because they were engaging. And the thought that I could kind of be that connection for someone else, maybe lift up their day, inform them on something maybe they didn't know about, like, oh, that's interesting. I heard this on the morning mix, and they generates conversation. I think that is really cool, being a part of someone's day like that in a positive aspect. Because I'm going to go a little hippie on you, but I think that there's a little bit of a cycle of negativity that goes on with people, We'll say, what's your name? Alexis, you're having a bad day, and this is in no way, shape, or form a true story. I'm making this up. Alexis is having a bad day for whatever reason. You stubbed your toe when you got up. No one's fault, just happened. Your toe is hurt, and you talk to, You talk to Caitlin, and your toe is hurting, and maybe Caitlin just rubs you the wrong way, and you, not lash out, but maybe you say something, a little mean, so your day's a little sad. And so then maybe it goes on and on and on and on. What's cool about my gig is that I can maybe kick that off in the opposite direction. That wheel of negativity can turn into kind of a wheel of positive. You hear something cool, you're like, hey, did you know that narwhals have natural horns? They're like the unicorns of the sea, all right? That is true, by the way. And so you talk to Caitlin, you're like, did you hear about these underwater unicorns? And you're like, oh, I love unicorns. Did you know that they're Scotland's national animal? Which is true. Look it up. But it's nice to know that you're a good part of someone's day, and it might not be anybody you will ever meet as far as the talent aspect of that goes. But I just like, I like being a part of something bigger than myself. And I'll admit, a little bit of ego goes into it. I think it's kind of cool when people hear me on the station. But it's more, it's more like I feel like I'm really helping make a difference, however small it is in someone's life.
What was the most difficult part when you first started DJing?
The most difficult part when I started DJing, so you kind of have to have a little bit of a thick skin. In any profession helps, but in radio especially, because people are going to be picking you apart, sometimes not in a friendly way. I'm a wear my heart on my sleeve kind of guy. It's hard for me not to. So when I see stuff like that from my boss, I know where it's coming from, but maybe you see stuff like that from someone listening online, or someone driving and they just don't like you for whatever reason. It can be hurtful sometimes, I'll be honest. But what's great is that it doesn't take away from the experience. It's just part of it. And going into it, you've got to know, you can't please people all the time. You can't please everyone all the time. What's the saying? You're not pizza. Stop trying to please people. Basically, I'm not pizza. I know that. Some people aren't going to like pizza for whatever reason. So I just try to do my darndest, try to stay the course.
Do you ever get to personally interact with your listeners?
I do. It is October. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we did an event where we actually got an entire bowling alley, and we got people to pay $20 per person. We had teams of 4 to 6, and they bowled with the DJs. So I was out there, my co-host Erica was out there, my program director, midday host Ben Coburn was out there, our night DJ Casey Kelly was out there, and we got to actually talk to these people, not only the people who were fans of us, but the people who we were helping make a difference in their lives, because all that money got funneled back into a free mammogram fund at McLaren Port Huron. So we were helping the community while interacting with the community.
Director Cece would like to know, where is the industry of radio heading, in your opinion, like as an industry? Because it's seen some changes. Where do you think it's going?
It has seen some changes, and I went back recently for a 10-year reunion at Alma College, and they told me that they've kind of combined their radio program, and they've now got some television stuff going, and a lot of blogging and podcasting and YouTubing. They've all kind of got it together because this advent of the internet's presence when it comes to media, and TV and radio aren't going to be left behind in that. I think a lot of people think that, and they're wrong. It's not that we see this happening over here and we're like, nope, we're going to keep doing what we're doing because we're right. We've been here the longest. No, that's stupid. We adapt.
If you could pick any type of music to have on the station that you're on, what would it be?
Getting rid of a little bit of myth in radio. I don't get to choose what goes on air. So what I want to hear is secondary to what should be played. There are formatics that go into playing music on a radio station. There's tempo, there's sound. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. There's tempo, there's sound, there's back-to-back male artists, back-to-back female artists, back-to-back bands. This stuff is a no-no. There's an ebb and a flow to the station. Market 3 is a small market, as I said. It doesn't have that much of a broadcast radius, and Market 1 is massive. Port Huron, Market 3, is inside of the Market 12 position of Detroit. So you get 89X, you get Rock 105.5 at the same time. So what makes us even compete with that? In this gigantic flow of Detroit radio, how does Port Huron fit? And what we do is we try to make ourselves a pebble in that stream. We don't try to compete with the big guys. We make sure that this stone is not going anywhere so that people want to tune in and get Port Huron specific radio, get Blue Water area is what we call it. Specific radio, that's what they'll get. Okay, thank you very much for having me here. I will say that I went to Hazel Park High School, and we had a television program in its larva stages, and this is amazing. You guys are doing a great job. Shout out to everybody in the control room and the camera people. You guys are doing an amazing job here, and just never stop learning. But thank you. I don't know which camera to look at. Yeah.